Any second guessing here about not having Clark on the Olympic team?
From me? No.
Remember when the Minnesota Lynx general manager and head coach, Cheryl Reeve, claimed she didn't care about Caitlin Clark? Well, guess what? Those two are extremely wealthy. The Minnesota Lynx just pulled off the most egregious cash grab in WNBA history, and it was all due to Clark.
Coach of the home team, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for that other side.
I'll get 2 shits.
How about one?
Not even 1 shit.
You won't believe how quickly Reeve changed her mind after realizing Clark could help her finances. This is a whole 180-degree turnaround, people. Reeve's voyage is a prime example of hypocrisy, but hold on until you learn about the ticketing plan that has supporters furiously upset. Are you prepared to leave?
So, we know the Caitlin Clark effect is real, obviously. It is incredibly obvious that it's real. But this might just sum it up more than anything else. But the reality is, Caitlin Clark is a bigger draw than the WNBA Finals, and it's proven by this.
Let's take a quick trip down memory lane to recall when Cheryl Reeve couldn't care less about Caitlin Clark. When it came time to choose the Team USA Olympic roster, Clark's name was nowhere to be found, and Reeve was silent as a church mouse when asked about how Clark affected fan attendance. He shrugged and talked about ice cold.
Dummies. For the first time, in the history of basketball, you have arguably a player who is the most popular player in the world. You could argue right now, Caitlin Clark is the most talked about, discussed, most popular, most puts asses in the seats, single basketball player in the world. You could argue that. Yeah, you could say maybe LeBron, Luka, whatever you want, but you can argue it. And you leave her off the Olympics team, it's not only a showcase for her, it's for the sport and the other WNBA players who are on this team. How dumb, how brain dead, how idiotic do the people running this thing have to be?
This is where things start to get interesting, though, as the fever hits town and the Target Center rapidly fills up. It's like someone flips a switch, and now everyone wants to see a Lynx game and find out who the main attraction is. You would assume that Reeve would increase her skepticism, but Caitlin Clark is the one who starts to alter her tune. It's like seeing an old dog who is stubborn learn a new trick gradually at first, then all at once.
I'd rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch dirt just be moved around because Caitlin Clark's not on the team. If she's there, it's appointment TV. You people, whoever did this, honestly, hey, take your brain, put it in a museum, and study it for how dumb you are.
Before you realize it, why is Reeves praising Clark's praises? Could it be the packed theaters? You can bet that the jersey sales are skyrocketing due to the sky-high TV ratings. Reeves came to understand what we had understood all along. We're talking record-breaking attendance, the most-watched WNBA draft ever with 2.4 million viewers, and the Indiana Fever's attendance skyrocketing from 4,000 in 2023 to 177,000 in 2024. Not just an increase, but a revolution, and Caitlin Clark is money in the bank.
Caitlin Clark is PR. That's where, how can they leave her? Once again, everybody's, out to get her. They don't want to grow the game.
Clark is rewriting the history books, not just living up to the expectations. If you're Cheryl Reeve, you swallow your pride and join the Caitlin Clark bandwagon. Suddenly, Clark isn't just a good player. She's a transcendent road show and the headliner that women's basketball needed. But hold on to your seats. People, this love fest isn't all sunshine and rainbows. There is a ticket controversy. All-time rookie leader in assists and three-pointers broke 62 records in her rookie season. You bet it's like watching a highlight reel on live every single game. Brewing that's going to throw a wrench in the works. You won't believe what happens next.
If you guys don't know, teams have season tickets. In general, teams have season tickets. Sometimes teams have half-season tickets. Sometimes have all these other packages. But one team, the Minnesota Lynx, have decided, you know what? We've got our season tickets. But, we're cool with charging you guys like $30 per game for all of these. But when Caitlin Clark comes to town, we're going to be adding 10 times the price probably. Like, you're probably looking at $300 tickets when Caitlin Clark comes to town.
Now that Reeves is screaming Clark's praises, the million-dollar issue is, how much is a Caitlin Clark game worth? Based on the Lynx, it's incredibly valuable. Their new ticket package includes raising eyebrows and spending money more quickly than you can say, cash grab.
So, if you guys didn't see, there is a package for home games for the Minnesota Lynx. So you can see here, these are half-season packages. So you can purchase packages to see every other game. You can get half-season packages for all of these games here, all of these games here. Option to add Fever games. Purchase a half-season package to receive access to add on the Fever game.
Let's dissect this. Lynx has created a half-season ticket package that costs an incredible $850, but the catch is that it conveniently excludes the games against the Indiana Fever. That's correct. You can purchase tickets to all of the other teams' games except one, and you can't even purchase tickets to see Clark and the Fever in a single game.
Cannot buy a ticket to the Fever game without buying a half-season package. That is how confident they are in this. You cannot buy a ticket straight up for the Fever unless you are at all the other games. So you can't just buy a ticket to the Fever. Any other game, cool. The other games are all in the packages, and they're probably charging as much as the entire package to just watch the Fever game, which is absolutely crazy. Like,
fans are furious and not just angry. Social media is ablaze with individuals pointing out the Lynx. One fan struck the nail on the head, writing, "I was upset. I did the half season last year for the Lynx not doing it this time, though they lost me on this decision." Another person commented that this is the most blatant money grab in league history, and it's impossible to ignore who the face is now.
Unrivaled justice. If somebody got injured for Unrivaled and it was while they're waiting for someone, they were like, "We've got Caitlin Clark for one day and one day only, but instead we're going to move it into wherever, is it in Orlando or it's in Miami, where Miami, the Miami Heat play in the American Airlines Arena is Miami, or is it the American Airlines Center? Is that the Mavs? American Airlines Arena, I think, is Miami, or whatever it's called now. So you could move it to there, Unrivaled, and it would sell out in 10 minutes if she was there for one night and one night only. That's the reality of the situation.
It's like the Lynx are running a basketball speakeasy, where the password is "show me the money." You know what this reminds me of? It's like when a fancy restaurant suddenly raises the prices because they received a good review. Sure, they might make a quick buck in the short term, but how long before the regulars start looking for a new spot? That's what happens when the Lynx are playing hardball, and other WNBA teams, the Seattle Storm and New York Liberty, are giving Clark fans the red carpet treatment while including Fever games in their packages.
Like, I've never seen a team do something like this before. Maybe there is. Maybe there has been, but I've never heard of season tickets that discount certain games just because they're the bigger games. And also the fact that you have to pay, you have to buy a season ticket. Like, I've seen times where in order to get access to certain games, you have to basically, it's first come, first serve with season tickets and stuff. Like, as a Leeds United fan, to see the playoff final, it was like season tickets got first preference. Then you had to have gone to 10 games during the year.
For a moment, let's be honest. The Lynx move is about as subtle as a brick through a window. They're attempting to capitalize on the Caitlin Clark wave all the way to the bank. Remember when Reed didn't give a damn about Clark fans packing the house? It's funny how a few sold-out arenas can change a tune, huh? You have to wonder what the Lynx are thinking. Do they really think that fans will just roll over and accept this? It's as if they have forgotten the first rule of sports. Without the fans, you're just playing in an empty gym.
My favorite part about this is it is the home of "I don't give two shits about Caitlin Clark," Cheryl Reeve.
You could probably fly to Indiana to watch a game and still have money left over for a nice dinner with that amount of money. However, the Lynx act as though they have Clark locked in a vault, and $850 is the key. Imagine being a LYX player right now, busting your butt on the court, and your own team is essentially saying, "Yeah, but you're not Caitlin Clark, talk about a morale booster, right?"
The people that still call AJ Wilson the face of the league. I'm sorry, you don't need to purchase a 10-game package for the option to watch AJ Wilson play basketball. You don't. And AJ Wilson is in. Obviously, it's everyone in the packages to see every other team.
How did we get here? And what did Reeve actually say about Caitlin Clark? This ticket scandal is only the beginning of Clark's influence on the WNBA. We'll discuss that in a moment, but first let's examine some data.
And when you take into stock the fact that outside of Kevin Durant, aging superstar, LeBron James, 40 years old, and Steph Curry, there's not a single NBA player more popular today than Caitlin Clark. That is a problem.
Prepare yourself for some astounding statistics, as Caitlin Clark has had a revolutionary impact on the WNBA. Let's start with the big one, TV ratings. With Clark at the heart of it all, the WNBA just had its highest ever ratings year. Some of her games are even surpassing NBA games on NBA TV. Yes, a rookie is drawing more people than long-standing NBA stalwarts.
21% of the Mystics' entire attendance was in 2 games the Caitlin team played against the Mystics. The Sparks, the Aces, the Mystics, the Dream, all moved games when Fever came in town because of the attention that Caitlin and her teammates have drawn that last season. Fever's jersey sales was up 1,000% and attendance was up 250%. And they had the largest attendance on average per year, just over 17,000 per game.
But hold on, there's more. Clark and the Indiana Fever played in 20 of the 23 games that attracted over 1 million viewers last season. That's not just star power, it's a full-blown phenomenon. It's like she's the Beatles of women's basketball, pulling large crowds. Anywhere she goes, speaking of crowds, teams are actually relocating games to bigger arenas to accommodate all of the Clark supporters. The league's 2024 season opener had the highest attendance in 26 years. It seemed as though they were getting ready for a rock concert rather than a basketball game. And let's not forget about this team owner, who never stops griping even though Caitlin Clark games account for the majority of her arena's attendance.
Such an incredible moment on a global scale for our game, for our players.
It's like the fans are absolutely incredible. It's the same when we go on the road. Like there's so many people that are showing up in Fever gear. It's really affecting, teams all across our league, which is a really great thing. And, really, I think we're just scratching the surface.
Let's discuss merchandise. Even the WNBA Finals experienced the Clark effect, with an average viewership of over 2 million and Game 5 reaching 3.3 million, the most watched Finals game in 25 years. Although Clark wasn't even participating in the finals, her influence on the league's popularity surely contributed to those figures. Clark's 22 jersey is the best-selling item in the entire WNBA, and the league is witnessing record merchandise sales as if Clark sprinkled some magic dust on every piece of WNBA gear out there.
Future Hall of Famer, and has had a great impact on the game already.
What are some things that you're seeing from Caitlin Clark that stands out to you?
Even the queen of understatement, Cheryl Reeve, had to acknowledge it. She dubbed it the Caitlin Clark effect, claiming that the league is seeing a surge in interest following Clark's draft entry that is turning into big business. The key question now is whether this is a passing trend or whether Caitlin Clark is bringing about a new era for women's basketball.
What makes her special? I know everyone will talk about the logo threes, and Steph Curry did that for the NBA, right? Think about his popularity because his ability, this little guy, slight of build, running around splashing threes everywhere, right? It's exciting.
I now understand your big deal thoughts. Let's take a moment to zoom out while Clark sells tickets. More quickly than you can say three-pointer, Caitlin Clark is transforming the WNBA as a whole, not just the Lynx or the Fever. Consider it. This ticket is being watched by other teams. We may be looking at a future where every team raises prices when Clark visits town. It's a slippery slope, and fans may actually pay the price. If Hawks is a fiasco, you can bet they're gathering notes and developing their own Clark-centric plans.
Sort of, understanding the physicality of the pro game, and likely the FIBA game, when she gets in that space. She will be very targeted towards, I believe, growing her physical strength and her ability to exist in spaces against bigger, stronger athletes than what she faced in college. So obviously, future Hall of Famer, and has had a great impact on the game already.
However, the truth is that it goes beyond tickets. We may be on the verge of a new era in women's basketball as a result of Clark's influence on how teams scout, market, and assemble their rosters. All teams are suddenly searching for the next Caitlin Clark. It's similar to the three-point revolution, but for whole player. And guess what the players are watching too? They're most likely in the gym, right now honing their long-range shots and flashy passes. More offensive power and long-range shooting. Additional star power.
It is an interesting situation, but what do you guys think? Do you guys think teams should be allowed to do this? Like, it is... Look, all these things are supply and demand at the end of the day. So, no matter what, like, you really think, no matter what really opinions you have on it, the unfortunate truth of it all is, in life, pretty much everything is supply and demand. So, the demand is going to be there for the Fever game. So I think Indiana, or not even Indiana, Minnesota are going to do that. And I don't think they're going to be the only team to do something like this.
But here's the big question. Will this benefit the WNBA in the long run? Or is this a bubble that will eventually burst? Are we seeing the beginning of a new golden age? The NBA's overall growth, driven by Clark's popularity, has sparked conversations about possible expansion and increased media rights deals, which is big money talk and could mean a brighter future for women's basketball as a whole. Some experts are comparing Clark's impact to that of Stephen Curry in the NBA, discussing how her style could influence how teams scout and build their rosters in the future. We might be looking at a whole new style of play, folks.
Fever games are just that. They're that big in general. And they're going to be that big of games. That many people are going to want to see them. That, yeah, it's tough to just put it in with a package, because was it the Target Center? I think, is it the Target Center that they played? I was literally there a few months ago. But for that arena, when you can make more money from the Fever game based on tickets than you can for all these games combined, I can kind of see why they're doing what they're doing.
Let's talk about you and me, the fans, because ultimately, this whole Caitlin Clark phenomenon is about the fans, who are the ones who pack the stands, purchase merchandise, and watch history unfold. However, the truth is that some teams, like our friends at the Minnesota Lynx, seem to think you have endless money, but here's the thing. This could be the beginning of a completely new WNBA game. Imagine if every team decided to pull this stunt, making it less of a right and more of a luxury to see your favorite player.
I don't know if it's right. It's not right. It's unfortunately not right. I don't know though if it's still, like, if you guys think it is right morally.
I understand now. The WNBA's overall viewership is over the roof, with the biggest attendance in 26 years, which is significant, and Caitlin Clark's games constantly draw huge crowds with sky-high TV ratings. She is a once-in-a-generation talent who is gaining new admirers everywhere. Let's face it, WNBA fandom is about to get much more exciting and possibly more expensive. It's not just about the cost of tickets. We're also talking about potential league expansion, increased media rights deals, and other things that are fantastic for the league. But what does it mean for you as a fan sitting at home hoping to watch a game?
Caitlin Clark is a superstar, not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
The WNBA is reporting a spike in viewership and merchandise sales, with Clark's jersey flying off the shelves faster than you can say three-pointer. So where does this leave us? On the one hand, the league is more exciting than ever, with new fans pouring in and records being broken. But on the other hand, longtime fans feel like they're being priced out of their own passion. It's a classic case of growing pains, and how the WNBA handles it could make or break the league's future.